Hey guys, as everyone knows by now, the wrestling world is, at a loss. We lost a true legend today. At 81 years old, the Iron Sheik passed away. And you have to admit, he is one of the most recognizable characters in pro wrestling over the last 40 years. I want to say, I don't know, I haven't fact checked, but I would imagine that Sheik has been in the industry or was in the industry for over 40 years. He was part of such a pivotal moment in pro wrestling. When he won the belt from Bob Backlund, and he went ahead and dropped that belt to Hulk Hogan unselfishly, he did so much for the industry, the fans, but especially the boys. Your real wrestlers, your real champions, that were like Kaz, I'm talking about amateur-wise, could not release their ego enough to do the job for Hogan. But in part, of course, Sheiky knew that it was good business and his payoff would be good, but he thought past that. And I'm sure he said in an interview somewhere, and there's so many out there on the internet, that it wasn't just about that or himself. It was about the boys. You see, if somebody would be able to carry Hogan like Sheiky carried Hogan and drop that belt to him, and that would put Hogan in such a spot to get over where he'd just have to sell and listen to the agents and the guys that he was put with, the more money generated. The way it used to go is the more money generated, the more money to the boys, Sheiky, as we all know, was a sincerely tough guy. Go ahead and look at where he came from. Go ahead and look at his amateur background, and go ahead and look at the dues he paid and the way he trained at his size when he broke in under Vern Gagne and with that class of guys who kind of all came out of that being legends, Sheiky was such a good man, such a family man, Yes, he had sophomoric humor, but I will bet you that his sophomoric sense of humor is a lot of the reason why his wife and his family loved him so much, and his wife stayed with him for 47 years. Now, through all the time on the road and through everything Sheiky had been through, family and especially his wife were the number one priority, and I've noticed that in a lot of Arab cultures, Sheiky was a man of honor, my friends. I started promoting wrestling in 1997 and training guys. The first name I brought in was Cosro, and it was unbelievable. In 1997, I don't know how long Cos had been in the business, but he still looked the part, and I knew what people wanted to see as far as Cos went. One of the most recognizable characters that they grew up watching, And his fame wasn't just WWF or WWF. He was known internationally, the twisting of the mustache, the pointed boots, that incredible upper body, and the heat that he would generate out there. If you look at Bob Backlund and Iron Sheik before the Iron Sheik became the Iron Sheik, that was at the behest of Bob Backlund because he needed somebody to work with. And they brought him in first, and I can't remember that wrestling persona at the time, the Sheik of Araby or something like that. They did some absolute fucking art out there. So compelling, and keyword, so believable. And then let's look at Sheiky and Nikolai Volkov, managed by Freddie Blassie. How many tag teams, including the British Bulldogs, cut their teeth and first got noticed internationally because of their work with Sheiky and Volkov, Sheik did not like to work independent shots, but he did like to be around the people, and he did like to earn, and he did like to be on the road from time to time. The reason he didn't like to work independent shots in ring was because of these idiot promoters and these idiot wrestlers. There was this two ways of thinking at the time. Oh, look at how old he is. Oh, he can't do anything anymore. Look at, he doesn't do much in the ring, man, when you try to call high spots with the Iron Sheik. So as a result of that, Sheik would end up bringing the hammers, and he would do 10 minutes of a kind of promo doing the hammers in front of the crowd and then challenging people from the crowd to come up and do the hammers. And then he would work a 3 to 5 minute match just to stay healthy, to avoid getting hurt or having to hurt someone, so Sheiky didn't get hurt. He didn't like to do that. He didn't want to hurt nobody. He wanted it to be fun still, you know. And I remember one time he was all worked up and he was getting ready to pull the hammers out when I worked with him on an independent show in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And, as we began talking, and like I told you before, we had mutual friends, so I had their stamp of approval on me. She put down the hammers and grabbed his flag instead and said, let's go out there and work, Fox. So we went out there and did 15 minutes, and you would have thought you were looking at Sheik in his heyday, because I got it. I knew what people wanted to see. Sheik knew what people wanted to see. And we were out there, and he was over again like it was 1987, 10 years earlier, guys. The greatest thing ever, one of the greatest things ever for me was when the finish came. I missed the move, and when Sheiky went in to cinch in the camel clutch, he put his hands under my chin, and he goes, Fox, great psychology. Now help Sheiky. Get up on the knees. The world is a worser place, even just a little, losing Cosgrove today. May the Iron Sheik rest in peace. You were an amazing inspiration. You're a great teacher. You brought so many people so many joy. You infuriated so many people, had so much heat that people paid good money a lot of times just to see anybody come out of that curtain in hopes that way they would defeat the Sheik. A true man of honor. Rest in peace, Cosgrove. Remember, you are loved.